Hello, beautiful soul. So, welcome to the Illuminating Crossroads community. I'm Lisette, your guide through the realms of energy, spirit, and the stars. Today, we're diving into the potent energies of the upcoming full moon in Scorpio on May 12th of 2025. And this is a time for deep release, transformation, and honestly, soulful truth. So, whether you're here for reflection, clarity, or a bit of cosmic insight, I'm so grateful you've landed here, and I'm excited to share this insight with you. So, I thought it would be really nice to kind of do things a little bit differently. I wanted to have the chart in front of me, so I printed it and I'm going to reference it. Hopefully you can kind of see it, but even if you can't, no worries. And then I do have some notes here, and I pre-pulled some cards to just kind of ignite my intuitive muscles to allow channelings or whatever information that wants to come through that can support all of us for this upcoming full moon in Scorpio. So as always, please do utilize your discernment when you're receiving these messages. Only accept that which is a core resonance within your heart and your own truth, remembering that you are the leader of your life, and this reading is here to empower you, to support you with you choosing what steps you want to take forward. So with that being said, feel free to grab a notebook or something to write with if you like, and just doing any grounding before allowing yourself to really settle in to receive the medicine of this reading. So when I was tuning into this Scorpio full moon, there were a few things that were automatically coming through. So for anyone who might be new to the lunar cycles, if you don't know, a full moon takes place when we have the moon on one side and the sun on the opposite side of the ecliptic. So we can see here that we have the moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees, and then over here we have the sun in Taurus at 22 degrees as well. And there's a lot of other symbols for the other planets on the paper too, but we're just going to focus on those two for right now. So this is a point where sometimes there can be a little bit of there's this pull or this tension, especially within our emotional body. So if we think of the ocean's tides, and we're essentially this water, right? This essence of our emotional body, it's kind of getting pulled up to the surface, so we can honestly, one, bring awareness to how far have we come since that new moon in Scorpio that we had back in the fall, and what is it that is needing or even desiring some release or even just recognition within this next 6-month cycle, if you will, until we move to the fall of this year when we have again our new moon in Scorpio. So a few of the things that came out first were, one, there's an invitation to transmute fear and understand one's desires more deeply. This is a time of purging and clearing, or really, if you will, kind of giving light to maybe some of our inner demons. I'll put air quotes. So please, if I say any words that do not resonate with your belief structure, you can shift that. So maybe instead of demons, you can say shadows or just distortions, or even just limiting beliefs as well, if you will. And I only say that just because the sun is pretty kind of close to the fixed star Algol, but it's still kind of 4 degrees away, so it might not be as intensive, but I still think that is a part to play, especially since Uranus is there and we're already starting to feel that energy, and that fixed star does kind of represent some of these fears or these more, how do I want to say, I like to think of more of these things that we haven't quite yet either come to understand or that we haven't allowed ourselves to like give love to. 'Cause it's kind of making me think, so brief story, it's kind of making me think, I believe it was earlier this year, my friend, or a friend of mine, had an animal spirit deck, and it had different like native stories, and one of the cards that I pulled for what animals are over the different directions for me personally was the deer spirit. And the story with that card was absolutely beautiful because it was really mentioning, or it was shining light on like, I'm just going to tell the story. So essentially, there was this big scary demon at the top of the mountain, and you had to go to this top of the mountain, and I'm also kind of paraphrasing it, so if you actually know the story and specifically what tribe or like where it comes from, please do let me know or put it in the comments down below, so then we can give credit where credit's due, and then you can also allow others to receive the fullness of the story. But essentially, actually, you know what? I'm going to find the story in my phone because I think I took a photo. So then it can be the purest essence of it. So one moment. I just have to remember when, I feel like it had to have been in like January. Aha, I found it. Okay, so okay, here we go. Alright, so one day, Fawn heard Great Spirit calling to her from the top of Sacred Mountain. Fawn immediately started up the trail. She didn't know that a horrible demon guarded the way to Great Spirit's lodge. The demon was trying to keep all the beings of creation from connecting with Great Spirit. He wanted all of Great Spirit's creatures to feel that Great Spirit didn't want to be disturbed. This would make the demon feel powerful and capable of causing them to fear him. Fawn was not at all frightened when she came upon the demon. This was curious, as the demon was the archetype of the ugly monsters that have ever been. The demon breathed fire and smoke and made disgusting sounds to frighten Fawn. Any normal creature would have fled or died on the spot from fright. Fawn, however, said gently to the demon, "Please let me pass. I'm on the way to see Great Spirit." Fawn's eyes were filled with love and compassion for the oversized bully of a demon. The demon was astounded by Fawn's lack of fear. No matter how he tried, he could not frighten Fawn, because her love had penetrated his hardened, ugly heart. Much to Demon's dismay, his rock-hard heart began to melt, and his body shrank to the size of a walnut. Fawn's persistence, love, and gentleness had caused the meltdown of the demon. Due to this gentleness and caring that Fawn embodied, the pathway is now clear for all of Great Spirit's children to reach Sacred Mountain without having to feel the demons of fear blocking their way. Deer teaches us to use the power of gentleness to touch the hearts and minds of wounded beings who are trying to keep us from Sacred Mountain. Like the dappling of Fawn's coat, both the light and the dark may be loved to create gentleness and safety for those who are seeking peace. Okay, so I feel like that's good. But so maybe that is significant. I looked up and the timer said 11:11. So maybe that's significant for someone, or you just needed to hear that. But that essence is very much tied into this full moon in Scorpio when we're thinking about these demons that maybe have been kind of ruling over our lives in ways that maybe are subconscious that we didn't realize, but now hopefully, I have more that I'll get into, but just thinking of our heart and really allowing for a bit more of gentleness and compassion to ourselves and to others, or what have you. But okay, so, and then next on my little list is we are more deeply confronted with the things that need to change to provide more stability and structure to allow for flow of spirit in our lives. And then we may have sudden news or insights or aha moments, especially with Uranus kind of being in the picture. And then when the sun goes Cazimi with Uranus on the 17th, like 5 days after the full moon, as well. And then this full moon in its essence is really bringing more awareness towards leading with the heart, and doing heart cleansing practices could be really supportive, or inner child work, especially since Mars is in Leo and the sun's ruler is Leo. So we have Mars in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun. So that's a nice little nugget to just kind of keep in mind. Also with like creativity as well. And then maybe focusing on stories, if you do choose to do inner child work, maybe giving some love towards past situations where maybe your needs weren't met, or if you didn't have enough resources, thinking of the Taurus energy, or if there was a lack of like nurturing or even playfulness and enjoyment, as just like kind of like mini examples. So if there is anything that automatically comes to the mind, that might be something to give some extended love to, but if nothing arises, please don't force it. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and look at these cards now. So when we're thinking of the full moon, we really want to kind of see what the ruling planets of the signs are also doing. So we kind of already talked a little bit about Mars over in Leo, and this is really beautiful because during this full moon, we can really utilize this essence of, well, we have Scorpio here, and Scorpio being fixed water, so thinking of like solid ice, right? And when it comes to and even thinking of that story with Fawn, or the deer spirit, and the demon, Fawn was so kind and compassionate and gentle that she like melted the demon's heart. And that's essentially what we're kind of like having here in this archetypal story, right? Of what we're experiencing or what's going on. So you can really take some time to kind of think of like maybe where has your heart kind of hardened, or where are you not feeling like you're receiving, or that you've just been in this space of like struggling, but how can you kind of tap into the essence of compassion and gentleness, and also trust being really big, because as we are navigating these energies, there could be really great support of allowing yourself to really reflect back. You can even just do like, I would just do like the past 6 months of like how have things maybe before, where you could have maybe experienced some difficulties, like how have things shifted, even if it's only been a little bit, but like how have you allowed yourself to trust what you were feeling called to do? And now you're getting to see the fruits that were bared from those choices that you made. So it can kind of reinstill, I hope that's a thing, reinstill more that confidence, especially thinking with Leo, and trust with Taurus energy. And this is a really good time to really do some gratitude practices if that is something that you don't already have as part of your routines, or even just doing like a little gratitude ceremony, because it's really this like that it's like showing great spirit if you will, that that you're appreciative of all that you do have like right now. And a lot of the times, you know, we can kind of get swept away with the mind that we forget the gifts of everything that we have. Like, for example, like you getting to watch this video and us having technology to even share in this way, to even connect in this way, is like special in its own right. So it's just like finding little things like that can allow for an opening of your heart. But yes, so it's funny because like all of these cards, I kind of feel like I kind of tapped on the things that I wanted to say. But I will say with Mars, we are always thinking of like Mars's action, or like how we receive the energy to have forward motion in directions in our life. And since there is this essence of potential like inner distortions, it being really important that if you are setting intentions during this full moon, because normally when we reach a full moon, it's a time to celebrate, and then it's a period of releasing. But if you do feel called, you can set intentions. But most of the time, normally people will kind of set intentions during the new moon. But you should always just tune into what you are feeling resonant with. But I will say, if you are setting intentions, really doing some type of clearing practice before you do it, so that you can be sure that you're doing it from a very pure heart, and to also have no expectations after you do it, especially since we have that Uranus energy that's playing into this full moon. It's I don't want to say it's important, but it's just supportive to not limit how things can come in for you, especially when you're thinking of things that you have been desiring more of, or if you've been wanting depth with others, thinking like a depth of conversation, of emotion, of connection, or like greater resources, or just with finances and things in that realm. This energy is really about allowing for room for things to come in a way that it just feels like that it's just not necessarily as like logical. So yes, you can plan and have the structures, because the structure it is important and it's supportive, but it's like you have the structure, and then that structure provides freedom for things to come about. So I hope that makes sense. But yes, and we do also have the North Node card that came out. So this is about it's making me feel like really being mindful of not like overly obsessing over past things, and really allowing yourself to choose to look forward, to be very present in now, but to look ahead. Especially if you are allowing yourself to kind of transmute some of your fears or those inner demons, as we were talking about there. It's kind of like, well, if it's been transmuted, then it's not supportive to keep thinking about it endlessly, because then now it's just like you're remanifesting it. So if you do any releasings or even cord cuttings, which actually might be really nice to do during this full moon, allowing yourself to like cut, like to sever that tie. And I looked up at 2222 and like let it go. And that's funny that I looked up at 2222. There we go. I was getting overexcited about the twos, because this full moon, the moon and the sun are at 22 degrees. And 22 is, like, if you break it, well, one, it's a master number, but also if you break it down, it's a 4. So this is really about stability and balance as well. And even thinking of, like, there's this greater awareness of this union within yourself, hopefully now, as like we've already been experiencing these collective energies of being a bit more soul-led, of trusting, of allowing ourselves to like let go of the perfectionism that sometimes we can experience before we like allow ourselves to charge forward, to move forward with what we're wanting to do. So to kind of like lessen the mind and like move with our higher mind, so allowing for a deeper recognition of how you've been allowing yourself to do just that. And if you feel like you haven't been allowing yourself to do that, then to maybe dream a little bit of like how would you like to allow yourself to do that moving forward. And then just to kind of notate, because we do have the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus, in Aries right now. So we do still have, and we're going to have like collective energy for quite some time in Aries. So there is this invitation to also remember that like what you are severing within yourself or even outside of yourself, of being in this space of remembering, like harnessing your inner fire and your courage, and remembering like all the times in the past where you've made maybe some choices that may have been tough, of either like letting people go or choosing to stop specific habits and things, but knowing that like, wow, you did those things, and then look how much changed because of that, and what good came from that, and what space was made from that. So allowing yourself to kind of like harness that remembrance so that you can really be in this essence of being bold, and not bold in a way that's like blazing everybody else out of the waters, but bold in a way that's allowing you to really be in your heart, and to be within connection with this passion, this creative energy, or Shakti, as some people like to say. So yeah, indeed, I will say I don't know if I feel like doing like an actual like additional reading. I feel like I feel complete with that. So just to kind of like close it up, do invite yourself to like deeper into trust. Also, just because we're dealing with the sun is in Taurus, and it's reflecting that light on to the moon in Scorpio, so can also see like how have you been emotionally, if you've been getting overwhelmed or overstimulated, how can you tune into those Taurian qualities of activating the senses for that sensuality, so that you can come back into the present moment. Presence is very key during this time of the full moon, and that will allow for deeper trust, and then also discernment, And it might be supportive too to like do a little bit of cleansing within your space or your home, like an energetic cleanse, just to kind of like reset after you're releasing or becoming aware of some of these fears that you're not going to let hold you back anymore, and to just purify your space after you work your magic, or however you choose to term that for yourself. But yeah, and then of course, one of the most beautiful things that you could do is to invite your inner child to play, creativity, so singing, dancing, some type of art, just creation, and that can also support with grounding and just being present if you are feeling overwhelmed. So remember the resources and the tools that you have, and allow yourself to really trust and honor what you're intuitively feeling, but don't get stuck anywhere in any murkiness, if you will. So, all right, so I think that's it for me. I do hope that this little astrological reflection insight was supportive for you, and if it was, and if you feel like somebody else could benefit from this, please feel free to share it with them, or if you'd like to like the video or subscribe, I'd love to have you join the Illuminating Crossroads community. Thank you so much for listening to me blab about things I love, and I hope that you have a beautiful and nourishing Scorpio full moon, and take care and stay blessed. Until next time, bye.